the States. So, I think you guys know the history. There was a big shortage in the United States for medical professionals. So my parents quickly jumped on board, and we ended up in New York at first, ultimately in New Jersey. But yeah, it was my father's dream to always, get me back to the Philippines and give back to the country from where I'm from. So when my dad passed away 2 months ago, so I'm very proud to fulfill that dream for him. I'm taking all those skills and experiences that I learned in the States in the software business, technology business, and be able to do it with one of my best friends here who has a very similar story as myself. He'll go through that. He's almost the same parallel story, but the Italian version. So I'm very proud to be back here and be able to take this product to the Philippines. I think once we're done, I think a lot of Filipinos will feel very proud about it as well.
I think that deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming back and serving the country. If you don't mind me saying, it's like what we call the reverse brain drain, where we're getting a lot of skilled Filipinos, Filipino Americans coming back. If you see a lot of the apps actually being put up here in the Philippines, many of them are actually Filipino Americans, like the people behind Kumu. They brought from what they call the Filipino Justice League from the States to come put up together a powerhouse app. And this is another powerhouse platform which we're developing over here through SigeGo. And I understand, I would call what you are, David, Filipino at heart, or pusong Pinoy, right? And can you tell people why? They might not see it, but you can really feel it.
Yeah, so for me, my connection to the Philippines started as a childhood best friend. My stepmother was Filipino, so I was raised in a Filipino household. Been coming to the Philippines for decades. I started doing business here over 22 years ago.
22 years?
Yeah, so it's for me, I have a special connection here actually. So it's exciting for me to come back and my stepmother also passed away about a year and a half ago, so we're kind of walking the same path.
And I understand where you're going. It's nice to see how you bring sort of like a legacy within that, you bring it forward for a new generation, especially helping in part of the economy that can really help the whole nation, elevate and scale up the country, and bring other areas out of poverty actually. Now, having said that, I want to move on just a bit, no? And again, for those people who want to ask questions, please feel free to just raise your hands and then state your name and what media outfit that you belong to, so we can address the question to the correct individual over here. So we know a bit about your background, we know why you're here, we know what is the desire to come over here to the Philippines. Maybe right now, in a nutshell, can you tell us what they would often call in the startup world, what is your elevator pitch? What exactly is SigeGo?
Maybe the Chief Commercial Officer.
So the elevator pitch, I guess you could say, is a travel and lifestyle omnichannel platform that will not just promote travel and tourism, but more importantly, I think, enhance the lifestyle.
Got that. And then, I'll put it another way. If we were to explain this to our parents, how exactly would we explain what SigeGo is to them? I would guess our parents are almost the same age. We've been with that.
Again, I think it's really a new platform that will help create one digital transformation. Right? So I like to use the example of my father, who's a brilliant orthopedic surgeon, but trying to get him to book something on the phone. Right. So you have to make sure, please explain to your parents that this platform is really designed for everybody, irrespective of economic status, social status, that you will still be able to engage with it, whether you want to pick up the phone and call a contact center, you want to open up a laptop, you want to book off the phone, and the social platform is available for all.
Got that. Thanks so much for really laymanizing what we mean by what SigeGo is. And having said that, for those of us involved in the startup community, there's always a very important question that we like to ask everybody who comes up with their newest company, right? But it's also a very important question every time that we ask. And maybe this time around, RG, I'm going to bring the conversation to you. We ask them usually, what pain point was the app or the platform trying to solve? Or rather, what was the underserved opportunity that you saw that led to the birth
or the idea of this platform?
You know, it's funny, when I had met Mark and Dave a long time ago in New York, they said, hey, we want to do something different with travel technology. Right now, if you look at all these different travel apps, they're very disjointed, right? There's a lot of apps that only sell a couple of things here, another app that only sells a couple of things here, one that specializes in everything. So, you know, Mark had a background of being a concierge, and David had a background in travel technology and the travel industry altogether. They said, they came in and said, hey, can we build something that kind of solves all of these issues? Can we make, you know, this omnichannel platform technology that makes it easy to be able to book every part of the trip to completion, from beginning to end? I said, yes, we can do that. It's going to require a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of knowledge, a lot of, you know, amazing engineers. And then he said, listen, we'll get the money. Can you put the team together and make it happen? He said, absolutely. So that's what we're trying to solve.
Love that. So right now, what we're seeing is that the opportunity that arose here, that arose rather in the travel industry, is that if I want something from the travel industry or travel, I have to go to one app here or one app here and one app over here. But then the pain point trying to address is that we can bring it together into one general platform, where we can address seamlessly their needs for travel. Is that right?
So I think one of the key mistakes most of them make, if you will, is, and you don't have to go, you can go to Agoda, you can go to Expedia, book your air, hotel. But what they're failing to realize is they focus on certain spending levels. Consumers, we're very focused on journey, so it's about the entire journey. You have to eat, right? You may want to do a tour, you may want to go to a nightclub, you may want to take a class. So they didn't look at the whole journey. They look at what we call the travel space bookings. The most important pillars, which is air, hotel, ground. Those are the three key categories. Of course, we have them. But when you land, how do you get from the airport to your hotel? And when you get to the hotel and you want to go to dinner, how do I make a reservation? So we're focused on the entire journey. And that bled into the lifestyle of everyone. So it's more of leading into the everyday life of the consumer. So that this platform really becomes their go-to for everything, not just travel.
Got that. You were going to add to that, RG?
Yeah, we've got a lot of unique innovations that we're going to be also implementing in a system that no one else is doing, which we can get into a little bit later on when we get more into the engineering. But you know, there's a lot of these big old companies, right? They're built on these old mainframes, and they're built using legacy technology. You know, we're building everything with the most cutting-edge programming languages. You know, the best architectural structure for stacking all of the software. And we're taking each piece as intelligently as possible, right? Because I think a lot of these so-called travel technology companies are kind of just stringing everything along, they're just connecting it, but we're looking at it as a whole piece, a fully functional, well-operating, fully efficient, well-connected ecosystem, as you know, a master platform. So when you look at it that way, it helps make everything run a lot better, a lot more efficient, and that in turn turns into value for whoever's using it.
And what I'm seeing from my perspective as the user of the app is that, of the platform rather, is that you're getting the whole client experience. You're not just picking apart and saying, I'm going to get you great tickets, I'm going to get you a great airline deal, I'm going to get you a great tour experience. It's complete. From when you start off to how do you travel from the airport to the hotel, to booking your dinner to getting the next one. Is that correct understanding?
Yeah, that's why we say it's journey-based. It's journey-based. So we focus on every aspect of it. And I think to add to Selena's point, something we invested very heavily in, we think is a real key differentiator, is the people, our team, right? If you look at our technology team, I mean, they are the best of the best. The commercial team, the sales teams, the marketing team, and each, we have very specific domain expertise in every single one, right? So, we have experts in there, experts in hotel, experts in dining, experts in government affairs and smart city technology. So we invested very heavily in the team, and that I think frankly is probably the biggest difference. right? But that also enables us to then take all of that knowledge and bleed it into the channel. Right? To this way that you as a user really has an amazing experience.
Having said that, earlier on, we heavily used the word omnichannel. For the benefit of those who might not appreciate what omnichannel means, maybe we can break it down for them.
Yeah, so omnichannel basically means any multiple channels, right? So the ability to, and we're also unique in the sense that we're omnichannel in two different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So we're omnichannel with respect to distribution. Distribution means, we're selling, we're pushing content out so that a user can buy it. So you can buy this on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can buy it off your phone, a laptop, a call center. Fully, the V3, which will launch at the end of this year and next year, fully integrated into head units in a connected vehicle. So you get in your car and you can talk to it and say, I want to order a pizza on my way home, and it'll order the pizza. We're fully integrated into connected smart homes. So when you're in your kitchen and your kids are running around, you say, hey, can you do me a favor, SigeGo? Can you price a trip to, Palawan for the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, and it goes and it doesn't. So that's omnichannel, right? Now, on the flip side, we also provide the same type of technology for the supplier, which is also very good.
So that's, we're working on the B2C side, from the business to consumer side. We're also helping out the B2B side, the business to business side. Maybe because of the preview, how has it become easier also, or more frictionless also for the supplier when they use SigeGo?
So first thing, we give it free to everybody. We don't charge them. We're not here to hurt the suppliers. The suppliers feed us. So our logic is to feed them. So the first thing is, all the technology that we provide them is free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
Full booking engine, inventory management systems, distribution capability, all of it for nothing. And a lot of, you want to talk about some struggles we had here. One of them was a lot of these suppliers don't have the technology to distribute the content and push it out in a bookable environment. So they're using Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But then Facebook doesn't link to a PMS system, which then allows the person to book the room on Facebook, but then it doesn't speak to the PMS, which means the hotel doesn't know I have a guest coming in. So we've eliminated all of that. We've given them all the systems so that they can manage that inventory, understand the bookings coming in, push it out, not just to us. You want to push it to booking, go ahead and do it. You want to push it to a building, go ahead and do it. And we give it for nothing.
Fantastic. So we're making things both frictionless and one-stop shop in nature for both the consumer, the client, and also for the supplier within the travel ecosystem. Now, another interesting thing I'm finding out about the app is the name itself, SigeGo, right? SigeGo. Where exactly, I'm guessing origin came from you, but how exactly did you come up with the name SigeGo for the
No,
app?
actually, that brilliant name actually came from one of our directors. When me and David were developing this idea, we were like, it's the only way that this is really going to succeed. We need a really clever name, and me and Dave have a branding and marketing background, so we were like killing ourselves. Blah 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 blah. All of a sudden, it just came out, from one of the guys who's now one of our directors. We saw this SigeGo name, and for me, I was like, oh my god, that's the most clever thing I've ever heard. There's nothing we're going to come up any better. And it just fits so well with the traveling that we're doing. It's short. It's a very common saying that they have. It's just like in the States when you come up with that very clever empty vessel name. This was it. This is like the Yahoo moment. This is the Google moment. We're like, SigeGo, that's it. And done deal.
Done.
Stuck with it ever
So,
since.
and don't forget to hashtag us right now also on SigeGo. Now, with the name SigeGo, we know that there's an opportunity to be addressed here in the Philippines. We also know it's a great name for the app. We know it's going to be omnichannel. My question here right now is that I know that you're Filipino-American and you've got a Filipino heritage in yourself as well. Why choose the Philippines as the most opportune place to start off the SigeGo app? What did you see here in the Philippines that probably wasn't present in other countries that maybe the best place to springboard this platform?
So, like I said, I've been coming here for 22 years, and I'll never forget my first time I landed here. It was late at night, and I was staying at the SigeGo Lodge, and it took me like 4 hours to get there.
From the
Oh my God, it was just like, I just wanted to get to my hotel. The traffic was just And my first assignment here was a project I did with BLT. And I've been coming back every year ever since. And the growth, the change is remarkable. And I remember there was about a 6-year stint where I didn't come. And I landed here and I didn't even recognize it. It was amazing. Very visible middle class, which didn't exist 20 years ago. So that's one key thing, right? You see incredible growth. I mean, I think the Philippines is the 4th fastest growing economy in the world, which is remarkable. The second piece is the people. And I said this on an interview I did a few weeks ago. One of the things that draws me here are the people, the product, the work ethic, the kindness, and I have to be careful what I say here, but it kind of doesn't really exist anywhere, not to this extent. So, and then being, that he's Filipino, I've got a Filipino family, we said, look, this is the place to be. This is the time. The economy is booming, and we said this is where we're launching.
Reggie, yes, please.
Yeah, I think around the world, the word has not gotten out about the opportunity that's available here. I think if you think about, buying low and selling high, my God, this is wide open right here. This is like Silicon Valley 1990s. For me, there is so much that can happen here. There is so much that we can do. There is so many things that can springboard off of this idea. And this is why SigeGo is a platform. I mean, this will provide, I think, a big push for, I know the president has been trying to push this whole STEM, movement towards science, technology, engineering, and math. I think I would love for this to be a contributor to springboarding that movement towards more technology, more engineering, because let's face it, guys, for countries to do well into the future, this is all about engineering, right? It's all about science, technology, engineering, math. So if you don't have that as part of the big driver in your country, the future is going to be very bleak. So I would love for this to be a springboard, a catalyst, something to help spark that interest in driving, more kids towards that movement. That would be something that would make me very proud to see that happen here.
And I'm very inspired as well by your own stories about the Philippines and why you're so encouraged by it. It's the demographics, it's the growth of the middle class. But tell us a bit more, specifically in the travel and tourism industry. What is the potential that you see over here in that industry?
It's absolutely massive. It's massive. So, I think the growth rate post-pandemic was around 129% growth, which, yes, we understand it was a little bit revenge travel. But, and I think ending 2022, it was 41 billion US, and it was 10% of the GDP. So that's significant. It's one of the 13 largest countries in the world. It's perfectly positioned. It's not just about traveling to, it's also traveling out, right? And then into travel. I think the market is absolutely massive. It is the largest. So travel's 8.7 trillion. Asia Pac is 167 billion. It is the largest market in the world for travel. So it is really a very incredible opportunity to grow this thing. Kind of almost in a unicorn. This has unicorn potential. It's not just slowly bringing travel back and getting back. I think this has the potential to really see a unicorn.
That's really great to hear. RG, yes, you want to add to that one?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about opportunity. It's all about opportunity and changing the mindset of what the Philippines can offer. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're a serial entrepreneur, and anyone here who's got some entrepreneurial mindset, yeah, this is here. And I was actually kind of surprised too with some of the people that actually live here. I don't think they even realize the opportunity that's before them. If you look at the unemployment rate, it's actually relatively low. And someone said to me, hey, if you're kind of broke right now, it's probably because you're just not trying hard enough. There is opportunity everywhere if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to think out the box, if you're willing to put your skin in the game. It's absolutely phenomenal here, and I'm just so glad to be here. I feel like I'm gonna strike gold in California in the early days.
Well, thanks for coming over, guys, and really helping us see being very optimistic about both the economic and travel opportunities present here in the Philippines. So I want to move on to my next question, which is basically, if you look at the platform, SigeGo, you did say that, the opportunity here is that there's so many disjointed travel apps, they are putting things together. And oftentimes you tell people, what is the secret sauce, right? What is that sort of like your unfair advantage that SigeGo has as a lifestyle travel platform that makes it vastly different or more advantageous versus the other platforms or apps out there? We had a good discussion about that earlier on.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few things. So, do you want to speak to the tech pieces and then I'll talk about the commercial pieces?
Yeah, I think Dave is just really phenomenal at talking about how all the great innovative features that will be coming along.
So the platform itself, the architecture, the way we constructed it was in a microservices system that allows us to integrate very rapidly. So the speed, the breadth, which means that we're able to integrate into anything. So anything that's bookable, buyable, consumable can easily integrate into the system. That's never really been done before. Which means I could sell, when we first met with some of the government counterparts we know here, we were talking about the ability to take the SigeGo system and actually evolve it into a commerce system. And the answer is yes, it can be done. So one key differentiator, technology, very versatile, very flexible. It allows us to, we've built multiple apps. So you see SigeGo, then we have SigeGo members, so that is SigeGo, which is a closed membership application with loyalty, heavy discounts. We have a government application. That means we can do corporate travel desk. So it's very extensive. That's some of the key. One key, I think, differentiator, in my opinion, is frankly historic, and that is we are the first travel company in the world that has created a single settlement system. So what I mean by single settlement, if you've ever gone to like Landers or a food store here, and you're grocery shopping and you buy 20 items. So could you imagine having to pay 20 times? Right, so here's the bread, how much soy? Up here's the milk, how much soy? So single in travel has never been done before. So that means I can go and say, oh, I want that, I'm gonna fly PAL. I'm gonna stay at the Hilton. I want that rental car. I want to dine at these restaurants. I want to go fishing. Oh, and I need food delivered. And you put it all in the basket and you pay one time. It's never been done before. That really means the experience, the user experience is going to be like no other application.
Got that. Yes, RG.
Yeah, another key aspect, which for me is very exciting, is how this data is going to be now taken away from these private companies and it will actually be provided to the government. So this whole smart city business plan that we're coming up with, it's going to be phenomenal for the government because a lot of this information that was owned by private industry, they'll have access to and they can utilize that information to then give back and create better services for its own citizens, right? So that is huge, that ability to now have access to that data, be able to react to day-to-day issues, whether it's emergency or doing things like help commerce or building better highways, being able to decipher where's the best place to plan for transportation lines. Having that data is going to be crucial because everybody knows, right, what's the most valuable thing of any system? It's the data. So be able to provide that on a platform and getting it to the fingertips of all the federal, provincial, even local governments would be tremendous help in improving just pretty much everything. Whether it's infrastructure, services, makes everything just a little bit more cost effective and a lot more efficient.
It sort of makes sure that the app pays it forward in a sense because of all the data that's
Absolutely
residing in the app.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I was saying earlier about the lifestyle piece of it. To me is the biggest disruptor. It's the biggest differentiator because the amount, so you guys know we're going to launch with 9 key categories, right? Then each quarter we're going to be adding additional categories. So the longer term plan is to get up into close to 40 different categories that will involve if you want to take your son to jiu-jitsu class, it'll be there. If you need to make an appointment with a dentist, it'll be there. If you want a spa appointment, it'll be there. If you want to pay for parking, it'll be there. If you need food delivered, it'll be there. So it's truly blended into the lifestyle of the user, which, to be frank with you, is really difficult to compete with, and it just becomes a part of your everyday life.
So the way that we perceive the app is that it's not just a travel platform, it's a lifestyle.
It's pure lifestyle.
It's a pure lifestyle platform, touching on every touch point that a consumer has when it comes to his lifestyle. Having said that, where do you see the platform in the next 5 years? We know that you're increasing the scope of what the platform will have. Do you see it aside from just the Philippines traveling to other regions as well, and still under the name SigeGo?
So over the next 5 years, the plan, we already know what it is. So we know exactly where we're going with it. It'll be very lifestyle heavy, it'll be government heavy, and it will, I personally believe it will enhance the lifestyle of the citizens of the country. It is true digital transformation. It's going to make the movement of data significantly easier, it'll be more secure. Like I said, I think it's historic. This will bleed into everything.
I get that. How about you, RG, from the technology side? What do you see?
If in 5 to 10 years, SigeGo becomes a very ubiquitous brand, and the name recognition is on the minds of almost every Filipino, then I'll know we have done something significant, because that means that the app has succeeded, it's done well, we've completed our mission, and if SigeGo has new meaning, then I'll know that we've done something special.
Great. And having said that, let's take a step back a bit more and talk about what you've learned about SigeGo and travel here in the Philippines in particular, because it is a travel app, so a travel platform. How about for you? You've been coming here for 22 years, and what have you discovered about travel in the Philippines that you also want the users to also experience?
Well, I've never really left Manila, so because I'm here, I work 20-hour days, and I go to bed, I get up and rinse and repeat. I will say, it's probably one of the most beautiful. So I've been to 127 countries, and I've been in the travel space almost 30 years, and this is probably by far one of the most beautiful places in the world. It's really, to Salido's point earlier, I don't think the world really realizes how amazing this place is. Do we have infrastructure problems here? Yes. Are they working on it? Yes. Will the experience over the next 5 years improve for inbound travelers? Yes, it has to. But I think that, the immigration, they're moving to biometric systems now, so everything's going to improve. So the experience of someone visiting this country should be remarkable. It should be very easy, simple, everything readily available, information, bookability, connectivity, all of it.
And you were telling me earlier on, the nice thing about coming up with SigeGo is that there's a budget for everyone to travel now.
There is. I mean, everyone has. So the focus was really ensuring that, first thing, everyone has a budget, right? So if I just want to go to the park, I want to take my kid and put him on a Ferris wheel, that's there, it's in the system. That's my budget, it's small, it's a personal wallet I spend out. Then that budget goes from people that want to lease a private jet, and we are in every single spend wallet, which is really critical, because a consumer's behavior when they're buying is fragmented, believe it or not. Right? So someone like myself, I'm a road warrior, I live on airplanes, I'm not flying in the back of the bus, I already know I'm flying in the line flatbed. That's my spend wallet, right? So someone else's spend wallet would be, hey, I just want to go to Cebu for the weekend, have fun, I want the cheapest flight I can get. And then maybe I'll spend a little bit more on the hotel. So now my spend wallet changes, right? I've got to save. Now I've saved a little, so I'm going to spend more here. And then when I get there, I'm going to go crazy, right? So we make sure that we encompass every single spend wallet and buying behavior of every customer, irrespective of the economic status. So it's very easy for anybody to go anywhere, do anything, no matter where they are.
And the other interesting thing, if you don't mind me saying, as we talked earlier on, you're seeing that there was revenge travel at the near end of the pandemic, tail end of the pandemic rather. But it's normalizing, and that's why right now things are becoming more journey-based. That's why this platform becomes even more important.
Yeah, so I think revenge travel is over. I think it's a marketing tactic to get people in the mindset of, oh yeah, I'm still in revenge. It's not. It's done. It's over. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. And we can tell because we pay very close attention to specific numbers. And those numbers are the RASK, which is the revenue per available seat kilometer on an airplane, right? We see stabilization there, which means, coming in the revenge travel, it was crazy, right? The yields were double historically, 6%. Then we're seeing seasonality come out. What that means is revenge travel is this. I've been cooped up in my home for 2 years. I don't care where I'm going. I don't care if it's raining there. I'm going. And I'm going to spend whatever I have to spend. Revenge travel. Now they're saying, no, we're going to be more selective. If I want to go to Milan, I'm going during the best time of the year. That's seasonality. So when seasonality returns, you're seeing capacity within the markets return. You're seeing ADRs in hotels stabilize. So all that means revenge is, it's over. It means we're getting back to normal, which is actually really good. So because it allows those suppliers that we're trying to protect to plan better, restaurant owners plan better. And it makes more profit because they can predict how many steaks we have to order, or how many seats we need available, or how many rooms I need available. So the revenge is done, it's stabilizing, it's returning to normalcy, and that's a good thing. It's actually better for travel.
Got that. RDS, I stopped earlier. Please feel free.
Yeah, I've always come back and forth from the States to visit relatives, and the one thing I've always found is how long it took to just go somewhere simple, right? So to go from like Manila to my family's province in the Tagigaraw and Cagayan, my God, that bus ride is painful, right? 9, 12, 15 hours, something like that. And I think what I love about this app is it's going to provide choices for everybody. Right? So like David was saying, depending on what your wallet is, if you don't want to go through that process of taking the bus, yeah, there's now a lot more other options. And those options now are going to be available at your fingertips at this app. Because there was a time where you had to ask some concierge to help you, and only they would have the knowledge of all these different options and services. But now all those different options and services are very accessible all in this single app. So it's going to provide a lot of convenience for anyone who's trying to get around the country.
Thanks so much, guys. I think we've really enlightened a lot of our friends from the blogging industry, from the media industry, on what to expect from SigeGo. But I guess we've got some questions also coming from the floor. We've got some questions. Please just raise your hand and state your name. Yes, sir. And please state your name and the media outfit you belong to and whom you would like to address the question to.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Joel. I'm a travel blogger from Philippines.com. Actually, I was talking a while ago to the beautiful ladies of your team. So I already asked them some questions.
Did they give you the right answer?
I hope so. I will try to
They didn't, just grab you up.
So, basically, how do you populate the app? Is it supplier-based or user? The one who uses the app will supply the data. I mean, for the travel locations.
So the content.
Yeah, the content.
So the content. So let me. Right. There's a company called Simplenight, right? And Simplenight is really the technology backbone of SigeGo. And that is a global distribution system. So if you're in travel, it should ring a bell, right? Companies like Sabre, Amadeus, Travelport. These are global distribution systems that host content, right? I like to tell everyone, think of the GDS as like a Home Depot. And in each aisle is a different product, and each aisle has a different price or value. So Simplenight takes all of those things, whether it's a tour, a diving tour, a bus ride, a restaurant, an airline seat, and it hosts it. and then it pushes it into the system. So it's sitting there, it's all there, it's seamless, it's just, and it's a massive, I can't even begin to tell you the amount of content that's there. And Salito's team built a very, very sophisticated microservices backend that in the case of, let's say, Universal Studios, they're not going to let us host their content. So we build an API into the system and we do a call to the system real time. So that means whether it's sitting in there and hosted and priced and managed, or it's Disney, it's Universal, Carnival Cruise, right? PAL Airlines, I have direct connectability. I pull it in what they call it near real time. There's no such thing as real time. So as a user hits a destination, it's now hitting the system saying, okay, I have a guy that's a archive, start pulling up content, and instantly you can see it all popular.
And just to add on to that as well, we've got a phenomenal sales team. So I think you met some of the beautiful women in our group.
And guys.
And guys. We're looking for very unique content here in the Philippines that you're not going to find on any of the other GDSs. So that's one of the big prerequisites that we've given them, is find all these unique tours, find all these unique activities. Let's find them and get them in the system. It doesn't matter that they're not technically savvy, or don't have the payment system. We'll make it happen for them, but just find it. So one of the advantages of operating out here is that we have all the boots on the ground to go and scour the country to look for all these unique activities.
So, sorry, I have a follow-up question. That's for the supplier side. How about for the user side? Is it open for reviews, or can the users post photos, videos of their?
Yeah. So V3 will have the ability to for users to post reviews and film and be able to post photos and stuff like that. And not just post them, you can share them. So you can say, hey, look, here I am. You can take a selfie and put it up there and share it to all your friends on Facebook. So there's a lot of social feeds that will allow you to distribute it anywhere.
So one last question. You said suppliers do not have, you don't charge suppliers for the content.
Correct.
So where do you get your income from out of this app?
So there's a couple areas. One I can't unfortunately get into, it's a little bit proprietary, but what we do a little differently is we've gone out and negotiated private rates with every single supplier versus someone like Agoda and Kayak and Booking are all what they call commissionable rates. So we have a little bit of margin baked into it, which is still extremely profitable for them. And we handle all their merchant accounts and merchant services. So it's another area of revenue for us is on all of the financial aspects of how that money's handled and stuff like that, which allows us to really feed the supplier. That's the goal. We're not here to hurt them. And the margins are very, very small. So what we're not looking to do is go to a hotelier in Palo Alto or Alito and say, I want 25% commission. We'll say, no, we want 2%. We don't care. Right? Because we're playing the long game and it's a volume game. You're not going to make a ton of money off one guy, you're going to end up hurting them. Right? And how does that pay us back tenfold? I'll be frank with you, a lot of our suppliers that we've spoken to can't wait to start pulling their content off of Agoda and Booking because they're taking a beating. So we make a little bit of money in a few different places. And it's really travel's a volume game. You can't make a lot of money off one thing. It just doesn't exist.
That's 3 for 3. Thanks so much for the question. Round of applause, please. Maybe dessert na yan. Sige. Next question, please.
Hello, good afternoon. LA from eLifestyle Manila. First and foremost, congratulations on your upcoming launch.
Thank you.
And what's the carrot on the cake? There's Agoda, there's Ookla, there's a lot of apps, there's Cebu Pacific. What's the main advantage? For example, I would like to book everything in your app. Will there be a takeaway for having my airlines, my hotel and everything? Do I get points and rewards after using the app? Is this going to be Manila-based only, or will it be Philippine-wide?
It's Philippine-wide.
And how do we solve the payment? Can I use my GCash,
Yes.
my Maya, my video, or what?
So let's start with the payments piece, because it's my favorite. And I've spent a lot of time on it. The payment piece was the most critical. And the reason is because to make this app work and the experience that the consumer has, you have to make sure that whether you're using a Visa card, right? So a couple of challenges we have. Less than 1/3 of the country has credit cards, right? So how do you take a credit card transaction, which is really easy, right? Put the credit card in, I pay. How do I take that same experience and make that available in GCash, right? Or other forms, debit cards, whatever. So we invested very heavily in that to ensure that irrespective of the form of payment, the experience will not change. Because we have a kind of like a middleware that sits there that we know you're coming in with GCash, and this is a little proprietary, so I can't get into it too much. But then we take it from there. You pass it to us, and then our system solves it all for you. So you as the user, you don't know what we're doing in the back end, but we're making sure everything is settled for you. You just have that same experience as though it was a credit card. That was, so loyalty. Another unique thing about our system is a lot of our integrations were direct connect, which means I can literally put you into a PAL booking flow if I had to. So the answer is, in some cases, yes, you can. But those are supplier driven, which means if PAL says, hey, David, I don't want him to allow points on this, they restrict that, not us. We make it available, right? So there are cases where you may not earn on a Hilton property. Hilton's very strict about it. If you don't direct book, you're not earning. There is a loyalty module, and it's a cashback program that we're building for the country for you. So as you're using, you're earning dollars. And at the end of the year, you can either take it in cash, or you can use it and buy another experience or service with it. So there is a very extensive loyalty piece that we built into it with direct point of sale integration. So if you're buying chocolate chip cookies at Rockwell Mall, I know that you were just there buying chocolate chip cookies, then you went up and bought milk tea, and then I know you bought milk tea, and then you went and bought a Samsung TV, and you're doing it all through the application. You're earning loyalty points that you could then use sometime in the future.
Is there a peg for the loyalty points? For example, is it a standard 1%, 3%, or because, for example, I use SigeGo, I get 3% using all the three in one app. So
yeah, so right now we're around 2.5%.
And lastly, for the booking, for example, you have more hailing apps. Which do you have partner, Grab, or do you have your own? How does it go?
Good question. Right now, we're bringing in our own.
And lastly, are you offering this to beta testers? I'm already representing myself.
So actually, yes, and Active Social and Don, they will help arrange that we will make available for the media and press to actually beta test it and use it. So yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Yes, sir. Next question, please, and we'll move to the other paper.
Good morning, my name is Rafi of Techcontrol. For customers who purchase services or products from your platform, who handles the customer service?
So we do. So one thing we forgot to touch on, something also very unique, is our partners, right? We have partners that are the largest travel brands in the world, like Sago, Palmieri. And one of our key partners in the customer service is Cloud Staff. They're one of the largest employers in the country. I've worked with them for years. I know their CEO really well. And we're building out more of a joint venture partnership relationship with them. We already have a call center live there. And all of that customer service will be handled by our team internally.
Thank you, congratulations, very Pinoy. SigeGo.
Thanks so much. Over here, in the front, please. In the front, in the harap. This gentleman. To the left of you. Right?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. My name is James from Santi Chronicles. Planning for travel is really it's really difficult, especially when it comes to looking for rates, lower rates. So with SigeGo, are you gonna be offering low or more competitive rates other than the other travel platform or apps?
So I love this question, and we could sit here for about 2 hours to talk about it. The answer is yes. We're going to launch 2 different types of SigeGo. Just one that's open, like similar to Winnebago, and then we're going to create a closed user group, which means you can sign up and become a member of SigeGo. And in there will be heavily discounted travel rates. So, by law, you cannot heavily discount a product and offer it to a consumer. There's a Consumer and Customer First Act. IATA governs it, ARC governs it, and sometimes what they do is they meet their commissions and they reduce the rate, but what happens is they end up hurting the supplier. So because we don't want to do that, we've negotiated custom rates on all of our content so that if you become a member, you can see discounts as high as 60 and 70% off hotels. Air is very, very, very difficult to discount. So you'll see very thin discounts there. And then in all the tours, activities, everything else, there will be discounted. It'll be closed user group, which means that only you're going to see those rates.
And one more question. Since this is a travel platform, did you have any partnership with DOT and TPD?
Yeah, so we are talking to them, yes. As a matter of fact, that's how it started. So we were speaking at a conference in the UK about 18 months ago. I was talking about digital transformation and personalization. And when I got off stage, about 10 people from the Board of Tourism approached me and said, we want to do this, we want to do this. That's when I called Salito, and we have partners here that are directly involved with the government and our speech.
Yes, in the back, please.
Hello, I'm Darren from Philippine Daily Inquirer. I'd just like to ask, I'm sorry if I missed this, but when is your commercial launch for the app? And right now, what are the preparations being done prior to the launch?
Well, the preparations are insane. I mean, it's especially when you go business to consumer, it's a completely different beast. Business to business, very easy. B2C is quite an effort. The preparations are 24/7. We have about almost 200 employees worldwide, and they're all working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the preparations are extensive. We are launching June 8th. We're having a launch event at Rizal, where we will go live. The app will be downloadable that evening, and it will go into beta. And then once we get through the kind of rainy season, you really don't want to launch during the rainy season. We'll beta during the rainy season. So once it ends, then it'll be an official launch.
So how long will this, the beta testing, how long will this run?
Well, the rainy season currently, if I'm wrong, ends around September-ish, if I'm right. Sometimes it extends into early October. So it'll go from end of June into September, and then we'll do a full launch.
Okay, so the full launch is expected by October?
Yeah, yes, not expected.
Okay. And so when you launch it by October, how many customers are you eyeing to acquire by then, and how do you plan on going about it?
Well, we have a pretty extensive marketing team. Lucky for me, they're geniuses when it comes to social media and ways to capture users and eyeballs, and they have a very extensive plan to capture the market.
Can you recite some examples so maybe just to have an idea?
Well, the one program they're working on now is a national campaign for a challenge, a hashtag challenge or a tagline challenge. So we're going to basically do a promotion where you'll be able to come up with our tagline and whatever tagline we choose, we will send that person on all expense paid vacations or things like that. We have an extensive marketing plan which Active Social and Brandon are handling. And I don't even call it proprietary, right? It's direct-to-consumer marketing. It's fairly common sense. You know, you're going to billboards, TVs, interviews, press releases, launch events, stuff like that. Very traditional stuff.
So, last question. So, for your first year of operation, I mean, after the full rollout, how many customers are you eyeing to onboard?
So we don't really, look at the amount of customers. We look at the dollar spent. And right now, after working with the DOT, we believe within the first 25 months, we're going to try to capture between 1% and 3% of the market, which will put us at around 857 million gross booking volume US dollars.
That's for first 25 months.
25 months.
$875 million.
US.
US dollars. Thank
With
you.
1% to 3% of the market. So if we fall short, it's going to fall short. If we get 5, 6, 7%, we'll be throwing a bigger party for the government.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, our friends from the BDI. Over here in the front, please.
Hello, my name is Rain Kemp. Clearly, this is more than a travel platform, and you mentioned earlier that you're putting in a lot of lifestyle categories also. Do you see the possibility of this platform evolving to have an e-wallet feature?
We have one. We already built it. So we have a full virtual wallet with virtual credit card capability, multi-currency. It's already done.
That's very useful.
Yeah.
Yes. And for my second question, how advanced is the technology you're using when it comes to suggesting itineraries and putting in a lot of options for the users?
It's about as good as any. If you think about all the work that we've done since this started in 2015, we're looking at over 10 billion lines of code, right? So if you think about all the big guys, the Facebooks of the world, the Googles of the world, we're just as sophisticated as those guys, because if you can imagine how much data we've got to hold, right? All those different companies, they're also involved in one singular product. We have to deal with multi-category, right? So each one of those could be its own business, but we've got to treat each one separately, but at the same time put it into one really intelligent data schema, right, where the architecture can be utilized by anyone in different category. So, yeah, it's really a sophisticated system. We didn't get into any engineering here, but it's just as good as any. We've got some of the smartest minds in the industry, and like Dave was mentioning, a lot of guys that have worked in travel tech for a long time have come over from these other big companies, and we've got the best in the world working on it. But we have the added advantage that we are starting this from utilization of the most modern programming languages, systems, architecture, RAM, security, capacity, hosting, cloud technology. I mean, you name it. I think we're very fortunate that this is happening right now.
Yeah, I actually think that's one of our biggest competitive advantages. We are a tech company. We're not a travel company.
And everything is all set up already. Everything is
It's done. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You have a question over here, diba?
Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna ask the host para maiba naman.
Okay.
Okay, so what are the things you consider when trying to book for your family, and what will make you consider using the SigeGo app?
I think that's a really great question. So, from a user experience, like for me right now, we're actually planning to go to Hong Kong with the whole family for a family anniversary. And like you said, what I like most is the disjointed app. It's the pain point is the disjointedness, right? So the idea is that when you're looking for flights, you're first looking for comparisons between what's the most affordable flight and also what's the best schedule for the flight to go, right? And when you're at the airport, do you take the taxi or the train or a limousine van to go there? Then you look for the hotel. After the hotel is done, you look for the restaurants probably to eat in, and then it's Hong Kong. You have to make sure the kids enjoy Disneyland for a day, and then where do you go to next? So and you plan it all by yourself, right? For me, that was my experience, that I had to plan it all by myself, or with the help of my secretary to plan everything. And then for the rest of the days, using ChatGPT to help me plan out the rest of the itinerary, right? So that's my pain point. That's basically the pain point. And that's why I was curious to find out how people like yourselves, how would SigeGo address something like that for me in my own journey of traveling there with the family?
Well, I mean, first, making everything available in one view, right? So another, discussion we can get into at another time about pricing air and hotel. I promise you all, they're all within dollars of each other, right? And it's really marketing. Marketing is what makes you buy. Like Southwest Airlines, bags fly free. You want to know why? Because they don't have the technology to charge you. Okay, so that was a brilliant marketing campaign. So it's all marketing when you're price shopping. You think that, oh, I'm going to buy here because it's cheaper. When you start adding it up, it's really not, right? So having all that available to you in one view is amazing. So it kind of even makes the shopping experience a little bit easier, less stressful. The other thing we have in the V3, which you'll love, is an itinerary manager. So as you're looking, you could start putting stuff aside so that when you come back, the whole itinerary that he's just planned with his family, and then he can share it. He can send it to his kids and say, hey, you want to go to Hong Kong Disney? Do you want to stay here? And they can say, yeah, Dad, I want to go here. And then he'll be able to just move it into the basket if it's still available and book it. So it's really about trying to streamline the booking process for you, make it as easy as possible. I think it's one of the things we spent a tremendous amount of time on is to get to a point, click and buy. The booking flows have evolved over the years. They're normally very complex, sometimes confusing and annoying.
That's right.
Even down to the COVID potential paperwork you may need to fill out is all of it. So it's really trying to put everything into one view so that you can just swipe, pick and buy.
And in terms of the itinerary manager, sometimes you make the itinerary, let's say a week or two ahead of time, you have the itinerary manager there, and then you finally finalize the trip 2 weeks later. So do the prices on the itinerary manager adjust real time or near real time?
They don't, and it's because that's something that most of the suppliers just don't provide.
I see.
Because it's based on, especially air, right? Air or like sporting events, those things change within minutes, literally within minutes. I mean, airlines refresh the rates every 15 minutes. So if you're buying it, you're pricing a ticket now, you go to the bathroom, you go back, you're talking to him, you go back, it's gone. So they don't even have the ability to push it to you because now the whole search changes, right? You're now in a different fare bucket, and everything really changes. So that's the danger of itinerary management.
I see.
Is that you think, oh, I've got this flight here locked up on Cathay, and then you go back and it's gone.
That's really great advice for us also looking for flights. So if you get the good rate, buy the good rate. Okay, got that. Really nice. Thanks for the great question. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm John from Let's Go SigeGo.net. My question is more confirmatory. You've mentioned all these features that you wanted to add to SigeGo. So can I safely say, all right, that SigeGo is aiming to be a super app?
We are. So it's a super platform. I try to tell everyone, just, write whatever your users will read, right? If you want to use app, that's fine. But it is a platform, and it is a super omnichannel platform. I guess this is an absolute beast. This is, like you said, the amount of code. We have more code than Facebook. Like, it's so extensive that, yeah, it is a true super travel system, a super lifestyle system, without a doubt. There's no question. I can confirm it, for sure.
Yeah, super app is one of those weird terms that has gotten cliched, so we're trying to avoid it. I think we're a level above that. Yeah, super platform is a phenomenal new term that we're trying to push.
Thanks so much, RG. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Rizal from Manila Society. You mentioned it's a super app, so many products and services being offered. My question would be, how user-friendly would the app be in terms of booking, sign-ups and all?
It is very easy to use. We've spent a tremendous amount of time on the UI UX, that experience with it. I mean, I will tell you, our business partner Mark is an absolute perfectionist when it comes to that, to the point of where it almost slows production down. Because the amount of time and hours we put into evaluating the flow is, I've never seen before in my life. And a lot of these companies like Expedia and Orbitz, which I've worked with, like consultant for, and I know, they go in, they analyze, and everyone says, well, 90% of people want us to do this, and they build it, right? And then they figure it out. So we're trying to predict the perfect storm on the front end, and we're spending so much time I hate to use the word analysis paralysis, but sometimes you get into analysis paralysis because you overthink, how does every buyer want it to be? How does, whether you're my age, my father's age, her age, so you've got to cover that whole gamut. And you've got to find that balance in the middle to make sure that no matter who uses it, it'll be a very good experience. And we've spent probably a good part of 2 years just working on that alone.
Yeah, we've got a very extensive UX UI team that really, all they do is they just focus on user experience, flow. As you can imagine, right, we've got multi-categories. It's hard enough for just one category, right? So we found a really good navigational approach to being able to browse through multiple categories, but still make it very easy, make it very seamless, make you understand where you are. Yeah, so those are some of the kinks that's all we focus on as user experience, because if you're an app and you have a terrible UX system, you're not going to survive, right? I always say the system needs to be so smart that my mother, who's not very computer savvy, can just jump on and use it, and that's really the goal. If my mother can seamlessly use it, then I know we've done a good job.
No offense to his mother.
Yeah, actually, that's the reason why I asked it, because that's one of the reasons. If you're not a techie and you're having problems signing in, you just, okay.
Well, there's no sign-in. There is
no more
sign-in.
booking.
So there is no sign-in. It's just open app. Now, if you become a member, yeah, you'll have a sign-in, multi-factor authentication. You have to, right? You've got to protect the data that's sitting in there. But again, it's still very simple. It's username, password, possibly code, and you're in.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Do they plan to get a celebrity endorser or
We plan to get a celebrity endorser.
Dom.
We leave that to Dom Rukili to answer later on, which you might launch during the night in Revel. Again, that's on June 8th.
Really one of the big reveals, I guess.
Yeah, come to the launch, you'll see.
And having said all that, let's start wrapping up this discussion. It's been very fruitful for us here so far. But any last words that you want to share also with regard to SigeGo app, and of course, the SigeGo platform rather, and also, some words that you want to leave with our friends from the travel industry of just how bright the future is with regard to the platform and of course to the industry as a whole.
I mean, listen, for me, this is a passion project. I'm all in on this, and I think our passion, both of our passions for this project has been very infectious with the whole team. I think everyone who's been involved from the very beginning has just really done a great job of getting involved, and I think everyone feels the potential here, right? So for me, if this really succeeds, my God, it'll be tremendous. And I'm all in. I'm giving you everything I got, and I hope the Philippines will be proud of this once it launches. That would really mean a lot to me and to Dave, because we put a lot of work on the back end. And being able to launch the SigeGo brand, I think is just a tremendous accomplishment.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's been a tremendous sacrifice for me. I have 2 children at home that I don't see anymore. I fly home every couple months to see them for 5 days and I come back. So it is a passion project for me as well. I've been in travel my whole life, and it's always been a very addictive industry for me. I love it. I'm very passionate about it. And then to be able to do this here and do it with my childhood best friend, this is like storybook. So the only thing I'll say differently is not if it succeeds, it will succeed. So when it succeeds, I'm that confident. I'm really confident in the Filipino people, right? I really feel very strongly that when you see it, when you interact with it, you're going to embrace it, you're going to love it, you're going to be proud of it, and you know that we did it for you, right? And I hope you guys enjoy it. that's really it.
A round of applause, please. So these are the latest, the second,